Darling, you send me, I know you.
For this build, I wanted to make a big country house, like mansion sort of thing, just like something some fancy family would have out in the countryside. I started off by finding the centre of this bit that attaches to the lot and then made the sort of driveway coming off of that. I had this very clear idea in my head for what the driveway was going to look like, so I just started off with that. Because obviously that would decide how far back the house was from the road, or from the whatever that brick thing is coming up to the front of the house. And then it was like, oh, you can't fill in this space of this fence you've just drawn, so I made a room, filled that in, and then delete the room. Then the driveway ended up being way too long, so I adjusted this quite a few times.
Darling, you send me, I know you send me. Darling, you send me, darling, you send me, darling, you send me, darling.
So now we're starting off with the basic shape of the house. I wanted it to kind of come round the like the front, sort of go round it, if you know what I mean, like it does. And then you end up with these like weird little two squares wide sections at the front, but it ended up working alright. And then I just built the general shape of the house, played around with the shape of it a little bit. So I made these little bits that go inward, because I wanted to make like a little planty bit in there, and then I just copied the shape up. I love this feature. I have never used it until very recently, but I love that feature.
Honest, send me, I know you send me, darling.
I wanted to make like a little sort of overhang above where the door is, so it's either like a porch for if it's raining, or just decorative, I guess, and then put some big old podium, what are they called? Podiums? Columns underneath it. I do hate that you can't always quite tell if they're exactly the right height, because you can't just click like 3 high, 4 high. I know there's different wall height options, which makes it kind of tricky, but it's still a bit annoying. Placing a roof on a building this shape is kind of annoying. But I think it turned out alright. Those side bits really end up getting on my nerves, and I change them about a little bit later. I'm not sure if that happens just yet. Oh yeah, it does. I think that looks a lot better with them lower down like that. And then I wanted to add in some supportive pole column things over here as well, just to make it a little bit more realistic and just add another decorative element. It took a while to try and decide on like a big grand front door for this house. I'm not totally happy with that, but in the end that's what I go with, so yeah. I went for a very white theme with all of the windows and doors to keep it quite simple, and just, I guess there's not really anything else, just to keep it quite simple. I feel like they kind of went with the theme as well. And then I put these slightly smaller ones on these bits because the windows I was using, those ones are 3 tiles wide, so they wouldn't have fit, or they just wouldn't have gone centrally in the other bits I'd made. And I really wanted to play with a little conservatory on the back of the house. Recently I changed my graphics levels on Sims, but at this point I hadn't, and so window glass roofs look super weird with my graphics this low because there's no like reflections and sunlight coming through, and it didn't look right at all. Eventually I'm pretty sure I changed that back to glass, although don't quote me because I can't remember. Now that I've upped my graphics on Sims though, I'm so in love with the glass roofs. They are amazing and I've been using them in a lot of builds. I recently got the tiny living expansion, and so I've made like it's one of my favourite builds and I didn't record it, which is just annoying. But I made this beautiful tiny house and I have uploaded that to the gallery, so if you want that, check the description. So the windows were really annoying to place behind the columns. I still don't know what to call them. I'm just going to say columns. If that's not what they're called, let me know. Yeah, just because the diagonal and then behind the columns, it just wouldn't place very well. So this is just a lot of footage of me placing windows, making sure it's all at the right height and everything. So not the most interesting.
Whoa, whenever I'm with you, darling,
Pretty soon we'll get to the interior,
I know you,
I say, hopefully.
Darling, you send me. I know you send me. Darling, you send me. I know you.
Right, and on to the interior. So I started with the stairs. I wanted like a nice grand staircase, and I decided that these ones I'd just placed here were not a nice grand staircase. So I changed that all up quite a bit. I've always had the idea in my head of these beautiful mansions with these like grand entrance halls, or maybe they'd have like a ball or something. I love that idea. I think that's really cute and really nice. So I wanted to make it look like that.
I know you send me.
Darling, you send me.
So I took out the ceiling, or the floor on the roof, floor on the level above. Sorry, I took out the floor on the level above to make it like this double height grand ballroom where you can see up into the next level. I just think when I think of a big country house, that is exactly the like style I imagine it. And then I took ages deciding on how the stairs to the next level were going to go. I think I'd love to build something like, I was going to say like a specific place I can think of, but most of you won't know what I'm about, but like just something giant, like where the queen would live, because I'd want to build something that has like servants' quarters and like a servant's kitchen and everything, and I suppose I could add that in the basement level here, so that is something I could play around with. Also, the stairs here, it was just so tricky figuring out what to do with them. But yeah, that idea to add maybe like a servant's quarters in the basement, I think that could be something I could play with in part 2. It's just like, I like the idea that they could have a kitchen where if they wanted to cook or something, they've got their nice one, but that they'd have the one where the servants cook all of their meals and prepare all of their, their breakfasts and their lunches and everything, and like where the servants live and where they eat and all of that. Because I imagine a house like that huge, that has servant quarters and everything, would have living servants. It's very much like, sort of like a house you'd have in like a book like Jane Eyre. That's the sort of thing I'm trying to picture here. And if you haven't read Jane Eyre, lucky you. It is way too long and very boring. That's just my opinion though, obviously. If you liked it, that's amazing. It's just, the writing style of it's not for me. It's too long-winded, and I know sometimes when I speak I'm too long-winded. And yeah, but the book is just too for me. feel like nothing I'm saying today is making any sense, so hopefully this video isn't just a total mess. I wish that there was like wallpaper that would work on a double height room without having the like skirting boards end up coming up in the middle. And so maybe that could be something you could add into the game soon. And then I just played around with the layout for this floor, how the rooms were going to work. I really wanted the first floor to be very symmetrical. I mean, not completely, but to have quite a symmetricalness, quite a lot of symmetry to it. Especially like if you're just walking from the front door straight out to the back, I wanted it to all just flow really nicely through the house. I absolutely love that door. It looks like something out of like a church. It's so old-fashioned-y and gorgeous. And I think in a different colour scheme it could look very modern as well. But the one I've chosen, it really suits this house. So once I'd placed lighting in all the rooms, I put in some flooring and wallpaper. You can tell obviously what's kitchen and bathroom by the tiling. And then I wanted the wallpaper to just be consistent throughout these rooms, but then the main sort of like ballroom would have its own like feature wallpaper that's a bit different. I do put the cupboards going up quite high in this kitchen, but I know that's not realistic or just functional, but in my mind there'd be like loads of servants hustling around, hustling, is that the word? Just like hustling and bustling around the busy kitchen, and like ladders everywhere and a big mess, and they're all trying to climb everywhere and get the food ready. And I just imagine it to be like servants climbing up ladders to get to the high up cupboards is basically what I'm trying to say. So as you can see, I placed these giant cupboards. I like how you can work them all really nicely around windows and things. That is just something I love. The only thing is there's no corner cupboard for like taller height cupboards, although I just realised I could put in them like one above the other. I don't know why I had never thought of that with the corner ones before. And I wanted some kind of island in the middle because just loads of space. I don't know if they can actually use this as counter space though, because it's all of the outwards facing parts of islands, which is just for seating, so I may have messed that up a little bit. And then here we just have a cloakroom, whatever you call it. So maybe this would be the room that I'll add in the stairs going to the servants' quarters. So I kept that room really simple, and now we're onto the dining room, which is something I always struggle with. I'm not good at dining rooms because my brain's like, oh, there's a table and chairs, that's a dining room. My house doesn't have a dining room. We have just a table in the kitchen. But so I just don't know what goes in a dining room. So I placed some display cabinets with like plates, like maybe they're like finest china or whatever. And then some chairs and things, but I'm just like, what would they use the chairs for? They're in there to eat dinner. When else are they in there? So yeah, basically, that's just me ranting about being bad at designing dining rooms. I do like this little seating area, but I just don't get what it's for.
I know you do.
And then this bathroom is huge, given that it is a downstairs bathroom, which usually just has like a toilet and a sink in. But I guess that goes with having a giant house. For some reason I put a chair in there, maybe it's for like breastfeeding or just you just sit in there, get away from everything, I don't know. But there's a chair in there as well. It's something I seem to be using a lot to fill out space in rooms. I am obviously much better at tiny builds. If you know anything about my channel, a huge amount of my builds are tiny builds, tiny houses, caravans, tree houses. No spoilers to any upcoming videos, of course. But yeah, I just much prefer tiny builds, and this did not. It was just not something I was used to building. Also, as I've just realised, I've said upcoming videos, but I'm probably going to schedule this to go after those videos because I've already recorded those ones. It makes sense in my head, just ignore me. The type of pool I wanted to make, I could only think of how to make it in Sims 3, because as far as I'm aware we don't have rounded pools, which is weird to me, so I just made it look like that because that's the nearest thing I could think of to what I wanted to actually make. I like to leave room, one tile of space around the edge of gardens, because I like to put plants and things in there. I think it fills out the space much nicer, it gives a really countryside vibe, and I don't know, it just looks nice. So obviously there's going to be a little while of me filling out all of this space. And then onto the garden. This is another area where I'm never sure what to put in there. I always put in a pool, which is weird because I don't know a single person who has a pool in their garden. And then like I get a bit lost from there. It's like, well, maybe like a children's play area, but that would not go with the style of this house at all. And I'm always scared to leave like just too much green space in case that's boring, but that's what most gardens are, just a big field of green space, or a small field of green space, but usually it's just a bunch of grass. So I put in a lot of seating for like when they're having their outdoor parties. I thought they'd be like, you know, they'd be bake-off sort of people, you know, they have like their summer garden parties and things. I hate placing bins on lots like this. I'm so bad at it, but that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in part 2. Bye!